starting off Wednesday's strength training is going to be single arm overhead cable press. That's going to be 4 sets of 12 reps, okay? So I'm just going to have this cable slightly behind me. I don't want my arm to collapse in. I'm going to think if I was holding a barbell in my hands, right, I would stay in that same range of motion. I wouldn't collapse in anymore like this or be out like that. So I'm going to think keeping that cable, right, not too far back either. I don't want to be too far forward either. It shouldn't be rubbing against my arm too much, but it will touch. All right, so that's gonna be 4 sets, 12 reps. That's gonna be per side. I'm just gonna go to this side, set that cable up the exact same way, making sure I'm not leaning over, right? I'm not shrugging into my neck. I'm keeping that area down and relaxed. All right, you're gonna superset the single arm overhead presses with a preacher curl machine, okay? So when I sit in here, I want my arms to feel like they're kind of naturally hanging and I can lock them out in that position. I could be a little higher if I wanted to be. I don't want to be much lower because my arms are gonna be like this. I'm gonna try to curl from that position. I don't wanna really do that on this machine. So I could be here or a little bit higher, right? I would just adjust my seat to make that happen. There's just a pin on this side I'm pulling out, and then I'm moving that seat, you know, wherever I want it. And then changing the pin in through here to the desired weight, okay? If this weight, the lightest pin is a little too heavy or doesn't feel good, you could still bring over dumbbells and do the same thing with that machine if that becomes too heavy over here. All right, so I'm gonna get in here. Right, my arms are naturally comfortably hanging. That's a good position for me. I'm gonna grab this, sit down. I'm gonna start from up here, and then I'm gonna descend. I'm gonna go till I almost lock out. So slight bend, right back up. My wrists are gonna stay straight, so I'm not gonna be like rocking my wrists. See how they're kind of back like this? I'm gonna think straight or a little bit of an over grip and keep that there the whole time. And then with my upper body, I want to make sure that's not happening, right? Like my upper body's coming up. I'm still using those lower traps to come up and down like that. And again, we're not locking out the arms every time. I want to keep that slight bend. And then come up. I don't have to come all the way up. I'm a little relaxed there, just somewhere right around here. And that's going to be 4 sets of 12 reps. Our next movement we're gonna go over is seated Arnold presses. So there's a bunch of different ways you can do this. I chose for today, you're not gonna have your back against a seat, so you have to think about your core a little bit more, a lot more. So you're gonna think about sitting nice and tall. And then we're gonna go a much bigger range of motion. So we're gonna start here, come out to military press, come back up, and then just reverse that. So as I move back and forth through here, I don't want my elbows to be really low. I don't want it to take me in this position. I'm still working on keeping my lower traps engaged, right? Sitting as tall as I can, coming back out, pressing overhead, right? Bringing them in. You're not gonna go really heavy for this one, that's for sure. This is gonna be 4 sets of 10 reps, all right? And trying to avoid like swinging, you know, as you're moving around, getting the body into place, right? You are staying still and you are moving the dumbbells around you. So your body's a statue as you're moving those arms around, trying to follow that same path every time, not wobbling down, coming up and losing control of that. You're gonna superset those Arnold presses with bent over overhead press. Okay, so you can incline your chair. You're gonna be bent over, close to being flat like a table. I don't want you to be angled up for this one. So being flat. The most I'm gonna see probably people use with this is 2.5 to 5 pounders, so, or 0 weight, okay? Because this is an exercise that's gonna make you wanna shrug. The goal is to not shrug. If you are, we're doing the exercise wrong, okay? So I'm gonna set this up. Okay, I wanna make sure we're not hiking the elbow high and then punching it out, right? Or I have to drop it because it's too heavy. no weight at all, that's fine. We're trying to keep this as high as we can, not into our neck though, all right? We talked about that. And I'm trying to create that W feeling we reviewed over, I think it was last week, where you're trying to externally rotate. So I'm trying to keep that feeling of hands higher than the elbows as I'm pressing up and down. And I'm just pressing up and down kind of like a military press, trying to get a full range of motion. So the lighter the better, because that's going to be 4 sets of 15 reps. And if you just feel super dominated in through here with this movement, cut the reps a little shorter. Definitely don't do any weight. And you, like I said, you have to focus on learning how to use those lower traps more to control that from pulling up. Our next movement is going to be banded dead bugs. So I have the band roughly the height maybe of my hands, right around there. Okay, this would be, easier. This would be harder if I grab the band way up here. I just want to feel like I can tell that I'm holding the band and I have some resistance. It does not have to feel the heaviest, especially if you're struggling to do this exercise, period, okay? I want to make sure I don't have my rib cage open, okay? I want to close my ribs down for this movement, okay? I don't need to tilt my pelvis. I would want to keep a neutral, that's fine here, and ribs are closed down, okay? My legs are up, just like a dying bug, and I'm going to alternate. So 1 and 1. I've got tension on the band, 2 and 2. I'm making sure my hips and my core stay stable, right? So there's no movement through here. As I extend, right, I'm not rotating out and pulling back in and rotating out, right? I'm not blowing my belly button out to keep it in place either. My legs aren't staying relaxed as I tuck them in either. I'm trying to keep maybe like a 90-90. And my hands are just lined up right above my shoulders. And if I can't extend my legs all the way, because maybe I don't have control, I can go halfway. I can put one leg down and focus on keeping that same stability. I can make the band lighter as well. Those are different ways to modify it. And that's going to be 4 sets of 12 per side.